Oh, you have so much stuff.
Yeah, and I just kind of decided to not plant it.
But the strawberries have come back, and
yeah.
are those more roses?
Yes.
Okay, great. We would want to get those in, or at least pot them up, because those are really tiny little pots for roses that size. I'd hate for you to lose that many roses.
I was like kind of waiting to see what like we were gonna do, because I just kind of like overbought a little bit, and I wasn't sure exactly where you didn't want me to put them.
Right. Roses are not the lowest maintenance of plants, so my concern is like put them somewhere that you don't mind spending time. I'd love to see them growing up to a garage. I'd love to see them in places where you're not necessarily just exposed to baking heat, and you're not going to go out there and deadhead them, because you do every couple of weeks want to deadhead them, and that's not like the easiest of activities.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking the garage, like a few going down the side at least, and then I wasn't sure what we were going to do on that corner, and I was like, we could maybe put one going up that telephone pole. I don't know.
I've never done climbing roses up a telephone pole.
There was something there. It might have been a weed.
I mean, the Virginia Creeper will find it soon enough, I promise. I want to get 2 gorgeous rectangular planters, flank your garage on it, and have the climbing roses go up like this, and just like wrap your entire garage door.
And I was thinking of putting like kind of just like a pergola top coming off the like right above.
Perfect. Then eventually, if you had a pergola top, you could have the planters go like all the way around the pergola, because I love climbing roses on a pergola, and I love climbing roses when they're like climbing up and flanking archways and things. You have them, and the great news about the planters is like you can go to Home Goods, get them.
Or well, I have all this wood, and I'm not going to be building those other 2 now. So
and then you don't have to worry about amending the soil and digging and making sure it, like you can just do that. If you did a large enough planter that's like filling that entire space, you could do 2 of them next to each other. They'll get pretty big eventually. But we kind of want that. Like, we want the coverage to be pretty heavy. I would not have these be little 1x3 planters. We would want them to be like minimum 2 feet deep or more, and then the whole width of that side, so that you can have 2 of them kind of spaced equidistant from each other.
And you're talking about the western facing portion.
So that it's climbing up right here and just going up like that. And then you'll just have that really cool like fairy tale like kind of arch framing effect. Yay! Here is the closest thing you have to a backyard.
Yeah.
This is where I want you to splurge on some sod, but not bluegrass sod.
Yeah.
I want you to splurge on some bio-meadow or bio-native sod that's low maintenance and lower water, and will be really nice for Bowie, your beautiful, amazing dog. Because of budget, I don't want to have the lawn be like this big and then another 500 plants. So I think we commit to a pretty decent size of sod. You're probably going to end up put something called lawn leveling mix down on, which is 50% topsoil, 25% compost, and 25% sand. And you can rake that out with a lawn leveler, and all these lumps and bumps just kind of go away. We'll need to talk about if you want to solarize these weeds, or if you want to deal with it chemically. Not my favorite, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. At this point, because sod can be very forgiving in terms of like soil quality, the way that like a plant isn't. So I'm not as opposed to like vinegar as I would be on like a garden, where I'm like, you want microbes in there, stop pouring stuff on it. For sod, I'm okay with it, and at least the vinegar isn't poisoning the Jordan River Canal. So do what you got to do to get these weeds as managed as possible. I'm not too worried about it. Looking at how like dry and thatchy everything is, like a hard rake could get look at that. Vinegar, or you could solarize the whole area again. But just me being able to thatch that, if a hard rake could get rid of a lot of this. If you're not going to do the sod immediately, which I might consider, because then you have something.
I'll probably want to do it before the winter at least.
Heck yeah. I can detail this out to you by email if we're talking about it back and forth. But all you need to do is give yourself a nice little barrier of 2 to 3 feet around fences and hardscape. Nobody likes maintaining a yard up against a fence or hardscape, right? Border, let's go all the way to the edge of the garage.
Okay.
Let's have the flower border be right in line with the corner of the garage. So the flower border is 3 feet past the garage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the way, four sides, lawn in the middle. And then again with the flower borders, wherever you want people to enter the lawn area, they'll just be like a stepping stone instead of flowers. And same with like here, if we're going to potentially your future duck, chicken, cottagecore life back here, flagstone, step over out of the lawn area. The thing that's amazing about this is you will have a usable part of your yard in October if you just did this.
Yeah.
That initial upfront investment hurts a little bit with the sod, but then it's done and it's in.
Do you have like a good source of like the specific type of grass? Okay.
Yeah. It's literally only one person that does it. It's called Biograss Farms.
Oh, my phone works there.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I'm like hesitant to even say it. Like I'm considering we gatekeep this information from the public because I am like, if I sell myself out of this.
Yeah.
If I sell, like, because I use this in 85% of Utah projects. If it goes away, I don't know what I'll do. So I'm a little nervous. It's bio meadow or bio native, and we can talk about it. I'm thinking because your dog is so big and cute and like gonna run around.
Yeah.
I want to do the bio meadow, which is a little higher foot traffic.
Okay.
And softer. Bio native is like a Utah native ryegrass mix, but it's just got more of that is actually the prairies kind of feel, whereas bio meadow, despite its name, is like much like kind of floppier and softer.
Yeah.
But it's a no-mow grass, so once it's in, that's it. No maintenance. Sprinklers?
There's a sprinkler system ran like pretty much throughout this whole thing.
There is.
Yeah.
Do you know if it's...
We're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's multiple thoughts. You could just commit, if you're ready, to just put the in-ground in, then you never have to worry about it, and you know that the grass is always going to be popping. The thing that's amazing about having your lawn just be like one central shape instead of like what most American lawns are, where it's just this carpet you roll out fence to fence, those need in-ground sprinkler systems in order to get every nook and cranny. There are no nooks, there are no crannies. You could commit to just once a week, twice a week, plug in the hose into the above ground sprinkler, the portable sprinkler, if you don't want to spend the money on the trench. That does require the commitment to do that.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, the grass dies.
I know, and I just don't know how long I personally will be here, like in the next 5 years. But I want to keep this house, and I can't really like just trust somebody to do that. So I think I have to do the sprinklers.
And that's called scope creep. And you, having renovated a house, know all about scope creep. So this area needs some sprinklers if you're not wanting to do just the like above ground.
Which I'm okay with.
Okay.
I was already, that was already in the back of my head.
Okay. It's such a good size. Your dog's going to love it. There's access. Is that the back door that you can just let the dog out? It's fully fenced. I'm really happy about that choice. And the good news is, while it is not a cheap investment for the sod, it's at least like you're covering a significant chunk of your yard and it's done.
Yeah.
And Biomeadow does use like 30% less water than bluegrass, so it's not like you're doing an ecological nightmare on your yard the way you are with bluegrass.
How like often a week would you say it needs to be?
To establish it still like every day, like we are letting those roots do what they need to do. I like to get the yard to doing one deep watering per week instead of like those little bursts of like 5 minutes. Watering it for 30, 40 minutes a week would be amazing. Probably in the first years, it's going to be more like 60.
Okay.
And there are ways you can like add amendments and things to make the grass more drought tolerant. Biochar, certain fertilizers, mycorrhizal fungi, etc. We need to train the grass to do well, to establish and get really nice deep roots and be really, really resilient. And then over time, you can pull the water back more and more. Cool thing about grass though, root health directly related to blade health. When you see people mowing their lawns down to like 1 inch, guess how big the roots are?
1 inch.
And guess how hard it is to keep that green?
Very.
So Biomeadow, the grass gets like this tall, but it flops. So you get this amazing, like the wind on the New Zealand hills. Like, I mean, it's gorgeous, right? The roots can get really deep and that grass can be really healthy. And that's why it's a lower water grass than bluegrass, even though it's a full season grass. So it'll be chef's kiss amazing. Lawn there. Keep this as a flex space because I would like to see some ducks one day, and then they can go through your little food forest, like those videos I sent you of this Beatrice Potter Magical Wonderland. We could, in this flower bed that we're talking about, just plant some nice shrubs to kind of hide it. That way you can just put whatever you want here and it's kind of visually separate. Love that. We'll do like 5 feet or 6 feet of flower bed here just so that you can get some nice big shrubs. Shall we go look at your courtyard?
Sure.
I think that's it. Like that's the end of the tour. This is a really interesting little space because you have this very old outdoor fireplace that could theoretically be like the most baller pizza oven I've ever seen, with a little love, a lot of love. And I want this to be like the private little courtyard space where you and your friends drink wine. When you don't have the street noise, you don't have the cars driving by, like it's just yours.
Yeah.
But the concrete pad is so settled that it really does leave some things to be desired. And there are two ways we could go about this. One, the most budget option there is, you commit to a very large outdoor area rug. And we set up an amazing patio set. We restore the fireplace, obviously, because that's going to be a focal point. The twinkle lights, like everything looks better under twinkle lights. And then we'll do the right landscaping around the edges to at least make that look really neat and desirable. That's the most budget, lowest work option. Cool idea that I just had. We could kind of reduce, reuse, recycle, because you already see how these bits are like cracked and irregularly formed. If you were to start ripping this out and take a sledgehammer to it, or like you could like jackhammer in order to start breaking it apart and then lift the pieces out, you're going to get these pieces that are suspiciously close to flagstone in shape and appearance. Obviously, the side doesn't look like that, but what we can do is just set those to the side, heavy work, back-breaking work, and then put in a really, really nice steel landscape edge that's going to give you structure to this area. And then all you need to do is put like a super fine aggregate gravel, like a chat, crushed stone, fill it in a little bit to get it super level, and then you mosaic the concrete pieces in to look like a flagstone patio, and then you just add chat the rest of the way up until everything's flush and you like brush it in. And then you basically would have a cottagecore flagstone patio for $0 and some tears.
Honestly, that would be kind of cool.
It's backbreaking work.
Yeah, I would definitely get a jackhammer.
Yeah. I can see one piece already. Like you would probably break that into two separate pieces so you could like actually stand to lift it. And I don't know what kind of crowbar situation you're going to need just to get these out of here, but I've seen it done before. I've seen concrete be repurposed into mosaics of pathways, patios. The thing that's just going to be crucial is that that landscape edge is super sturdy, like a flat steel. And then the gravel's going to provide you the leveling that would require like very expensive grading otherwise. And instead of that, you're just letting the gravel do it. I would maybe, because the tree and the stump and the well, that is the coolest, weirdest thing I've ever seen. I would maybe just have it go just barely past the fireplace. So it's not going to be super centered, but that's okay. Another thought, I mean, it's just a ton of work, but you're going to need to lift that anyway, is you edge basically a circle around this.
I would like to get rid of that stump.
Yeah, it could be done. I mean, the concrete's going anyway. It's another about $500 to grind the stump.
Yeah, that would be worth it to me.
Okay.
That would be worth it to me.
So then this whole thing's going to go, right? Because that's not going to survive the grinding.
Because those leave horrifying mulberries everywhere that are so hard to clean up and they smell so bad.
And so this is an edible mulberry tree?
Yeah, and so is that.
And okay, so you have mulberries. We don't, there's no shortage of mulberries. Okay, because I like a mulberry. You want a food forest, but you're mad at the mulberries? Come on.
Just because it's not even on my property, but it literally hangs completely on my property.
Yeah, there's a thing called Utah tree law. Everything on your side is yours and you can pick it. I'm just saying, I'm gonna judge you a little bit if you put in a food forest, but you don't pick the mulberries that are hanging over your property.
I know, that's true. That's true. I think it's like they like make me nauseated because of the stench of them on the ground. The past like couple of years, that like I just like don't even see it as edible right now in my brain, but I need to change that.
So an alternative plan so that the stench doesn't happen at all. Are you familiar with Green Urban Lunchbox?
Oh, my friend told me about that actually. They would just like come and pick them.
Yeah, I think I've seen mulberries in the CSA before.
Okay.
I think it's more common for them to do like fruit, apricots, apples, whatever. But even for your apple trees, oh my gosh, definitely have them do your apple trees.
Yeah.
So you sign up for a thing called Fruit Share, and basically they come and they harvest all of your fruit, but they also prune, fertilize, maintain, and care for all of your fruit trees to keep them productive.
Oh, yeah.
All of that's included. And then they give you, I can't remember off the top of my head, I don't want to say the wrong number, but I think it's 20 or 30% of the fruit you keep, And the rest they put in their CSAs, which are giving like really affordable fresh fruit to people need that.
And it's like you can only really eat 20.
It's a really good cause, but then at the same time, like your fruits get maintained.
Yeah.
And they would, you wouldn't have to deal with the stuff on the ground.
I'll have to
because
look
actually
into it to see if they would do those.
Yeah, they definitely do the apples, and then you would have somebody who actually cares pruning them.
Yeah.
And fertilizing them and keeping them happy and healthy. So at least there's that. So yeah, I just love them.
Cool.
I'm obsessed with them. I want the concrete flagstone option because this is really bad objectively. And then that gives you permission to remove this and have that stump ground when you wouldn't otherwise. So that's also a project you could start literally whenever. You don't need a full planting design because we know the footprint of it. And just go to the steel supermarket of Salt Lake for, it's not landscape edging because then you pay 4 times as much. It's literally just pieces of flat steel.
Steel supermarket?
Yep, that's what it's called. You might talk to some people, they make Corten steel and certain edging that's like literally meant to retain. So it'll support the weight of like a gravel.
Yeah.
Even if it's only this high. That's about what, how thick do we think the concrete
Probably
is?
that.
So you're going to want the edging to probably be 3 or 4 inches so you have enough to level, and then you can set the the pretend flagstone down and like, and then everything's perfectly level and you can walk on it and nothing wibble wobbles.
Yeah.
And then you can literally just dump more chat onto it and take a push broom and it'll all just fill in.
Cool.
The gap. It'll be so pretty.
Yeah.
So much better, and it'll have more room if there's settling or if anything else happens. The whole thing has that fluid look to it.
Yeah.
And it'll just,
it won't like snap into.
yeah, it won't snap into it.
Because it'll already be snapped.
Yeah. Okay, let me just stare at this really fast. It's actually in much better shape than it looks because there's just like stuff on it.
Yeah.
But I feel like some mortar and like filling this in, and then you could purchase the hipster pizza ovens that are stainless steel and just put the chimney right up through the middle. That you don't have to do any engineering. It just needs to be aesthetic. But honestly, this could just be power wash. Like I touched
think
it.
a lot of it is just like soot.
Yeah, I touched it and it brightened up so fast.
Yeah.
Wouldn't a lime treatment brighten it all up?
Yeah, do lime. I think that's the German schmear it might be lime or it might be grout, but essentially you over grout and then you like sponge it all down and it all kind of just, it kind of becomes, the grout becomes a wash. This actually seems like much smaller of a project than I thought just by looking at it.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. I know you have a million projects, but this is one I'm not going to discount how much manual labor moving this concrete is. I would maybe like bribe as many strapping lads as you know to help. But also this is a really small concentrated area with 2 like projects that have clear starts and ends.
Yeah.
Landscaping your yard does not have a clear, like that could take, if you're planting them yourself, it could take months.
I know. And at least this is in the shade. That's a huge reason why I haven't started doing more over there, because it's just like there's
hot.
If I don't get out there at 6 in the morning, I can't get anything done.
The instant gratification, instant. Again, I don't want to make light of it.
I get what you're saying.
The gratification you'll have this fall, if you were to just dive into this, of being able to sit here and have a glass of red wine and have the like pizza oven going.
Yeah. The privacy fence ideally is gonna come up to right here.
Perfect.
So that you just can't see in there.
And then it's like all yours.
Yeah.
And
I would love if we do get rid of this tree. I know you said like aspens don't thrive here, but like that's my office right there. And if I could have like just some really fast growing twinkly trees around here, I would be so happy.
Yeah, I would be much happier with aspens on this side of your house than on that side of your house.
Yeah.
I still don't try to plant them at this elevation usually, but I would. Something that's kind of interesting that we could play with is the idea of like really just committing to the fast growing and really kind of going, are you okay with going hippy dippy permaculture on with me for a second? You can succession plant trees in that you can plant a really nice slow growing beautiful native tree somewhere that you want one. I don't know if you even need one over here because you've got this huge mulberry on the southern aspect. Let's just say you planted a big tooth maple kind of here, and that takes like 10 years for it to be what you want it to be. In the meantime, you don't have privacy, you don't have shade, you don't have anything. We could plant next to it some poplars that are going to be giving you some privacy and shade 2 years from now, but they're probably coming down 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And so they're coming down right as the big tooth maple's canopy starts giving you high quality privacy and shade.
Yeah.
So you're planting knowing that that's not a long-term solution, but the cool thing is if you keep them healthy, they can go straight into a chipper and you can mulch with them. You could amend your garden with them. It could be garden mulch, landscaping mulch. You could compost the wood chips. So you can create closed loop systems by actually growing more biomass.
Yeah.
Having the privacy you need and then taking them down. So that's probably the only thing. If you really needed fast privacy, that's probably what I would be tucking in here. And just like we do a pathway, and then right on this side we could get a row of like poplars that'll grow very quickly, but also not stick around that long.
Yeah.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
And then flowers everywhere. It's a lot of work.
I know.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
I just want to kind of touch on like the main action items that you have to like make progress before next year when you have design plans and then you're like, oh crap,
Yeah.
I have to do this, right? Theoretically, you could do this and that would be phenomenal. And you could also do the sod. What I love about that is now all of a sudden you have two completely functional, beautiful, usable outdoor spaces. And you can go over there and it's a contained functional space. You can go here, it's a contained functional space. The rest you can just leave. If after that point it's not winter yet, or if you just haven't burned up all of your available emotional energy, which I understand, I just want to see topsoil and wood chips down on this incredibly compacted, incredibly nutrient deficient dirt.
Yeah.
So that way when it comes time to plant, we're not just fighting an uphill battle. So getting just some bulk deliveries of topsoil and then as many chip drops as you can get for free mulch. Or you could talk to an arborist and get like more consistently beautiful mulch if that's important to you. Chip drop will have sticks and
Yeah.
I can confirm by text what you should say, but no black walnut, no tree of heaven. I like to put in all caps, no pests or diseases, please. They're arborists. If they're taking the tree down because of beetles, they know that there are beetles, so they should not be giving you that mulch. So you just want to say that up front.
In areas like this where there's not going to be like pathways, should I level?
No,
Okay.
not for a $10,000 to $20,000 project.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping to hear.
We're gonna plant and let the natural contours of the landscape provide some visual interest. And if the time comes where a pathway needs to go and it's awkward, you lift the stone up and you throw some sand under there.
Okay.
And now you have a level pathway.
Cool.
You gotta pick and choose your battles. But it does need, I mean, here the weed cover isn't even that bad. We just need some topsoil and some mulch. If you really wanted to compete out the weeds, you could roll some contractor paper out. Did we talk about that?
No, we didn't, but that's a good idea. And
It's like butcher paper,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
but you can get it at Lowe's in like rolls. Just roll some contractor paper out, shove some landscaping staples in it, topsoil and wood chips on top. The contractor paper will break down by the time it's time to plant,
Okay.
but it will suppress these weeds
Cool.
and make them hopefully not come back in too strong. But yeah, we just need it. We need nutrients.
Yeah,
That's a lot of work still.
I know.
Are you feeling up to it?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay, good.